Hello everyone, and welcome to this sixth episode of series My Journey with Jesus. My name is Sandia, and I am sharing my story, my experience following Christ, and how I came to faith, and what I'm experiencing in this journey of almost 10 years being Christian, and before as well. I shared a little bit about my childhood as well, and my experience before basically I returned to God. And today I want to ask you and invite you to share this video and share my experience, that I can reach more people with this testimony. And of course, like this video and sign up for this channel, that you don't miss any future and new episodes. And of course, every Sunday you can watch the message in our YouTube channel, Living God's Ministry. And yes, you're very welcome to this channel if you're watching. And we ask to support us with sharing this video, liking this video. And if you have some questions, please not hesitate to write us or connect with us. And you can do this putting some comments, and we will be happy to reply. Okay, but now I will want to continue to telling my story. The last time I was telling about my first church, my first experience in Ireland, and you can watch this in previous episode. But this episode I want to share the next experience, because we was moving from Arklow to Dublin, and basically the new life we was expecting in front of us, because we have a new home, new church, everything new. And we find church very quickly. It was a new church, basically. Yeah, it was a new church plant, and it was not far from our home. But the thing I want to share with you, because that was the real battle start for me, like real mental battle. Because how I already told you before, I experience and I have problems with mental health, with depression, with physical health. But my physical health was okay. But everything was, the biggest problem was mental health. And I experienced in this period of almost 3 years a very horrible mental battle and a very deep depression. And I was kind of in and out for a while. I was out like for a week or two, was fine, and then I was back for a month and maybe more. And that was really demonic, and I had a lot of attacks on my mind, and it was even in physical level. I can feel this. I was feeling very sick, but I told you my physical health was fine, but because of the mental attacks, because of I believe that demonic forces can manifest in physically as well, and the attack can be so strong on your mental health that it can affect you physically. And that's basically was what happened with me, because when the attacks happen, I can feel them in physical level, and I was pretty sick. I couldn't even stand from the bed. But the worst thing experience, that there was really demonic voices talking with me. Of course, they was not loud like audio voice, but it was like in my thought level, even to the point of doing suicide, even to the point of deep depression, how I already told you. And it was really hard mental battle about my mental health, about a battle with depression and those thoughts. And this church we started going, we have very good we expect very good things from all this. because when you read the Bible, and the Bible is the thing where you can see how the first church that was the place where people go for help. That there was the place where people receive healing, setting free from demonic oppression, uh, having purpose for their life, and getting free from sin and being redeemed to God and everything. And when you read those things, you think when you go to the church, you will receive those things as well. And you will get help, because how I told you, I was expecting to get help because I was battling with the mental health and deep depression and demonic attacks. But unfortunately, I didn't receive this help. And unfortunately, majority of churches, I don't know about every church, and I can't say like everyone is the same, no, but I share my experience. And in my experience, I experienced that many churches can't provide this help. Yeah, they can provide some counseling or psychotherapy or something, like go to the doctors, but they can't really demonstrate the power of the first church you can read in the Bible, the church Jesus came to establish, unfortunately. And maybe this is because the people in the church don't have this experience. They can't give you what they never experienced. They can't give what they don't have. And but that's the state we are in, and many people experience the same things. For years they're going around and looking for help, but never really experienced this help and never received this help. But thanks to Jesus Christ, who is always with us, he and his grace help us to overcome all obstacles and all evil forces. And I believe that this was the battle for me alone, because I couldn't find people who can help me. I couldn't find people who can relate to my situation. I couldn't find people who can understand me. And I need to battle this battle alone. Basically, there was every time when we go to this church, in the time of worship, I experience like very shaking, and I have feeling that something hot was poured on me. And I understand that was Holy Spirit who was doing something in my soul, in my spirit. I couldn't explain this. I couldn't understand what was going on. But that was basically every time when we got to the church, when there was a worship time, I have this shaking mostly, and experience this strong presence of God and pouring hot like oil over me. And that was basically what's happened for a very long time, almost 2 years. And I already told you I experienced these demonic attacks. Yeah, some for a week I was okay, and then I have a deep depression. I go to the deep depression, and those thoughts like suicidal thoughts and very bad thoughts. And I was very down, and the people can see that because my face always was like sad, and I was depressed. And you can see if someone is depressed, you can see on those people's faces. And I was struggling to hear the voice of the Lord as well, because I was reading Bible, I was praying, and I was listening lots of sermons, and I was reading books, and I tried to grow in my faith, but I couldn't. In this period, I couldn't hear from the Lord. And when we have those home groups and people was testifying about how God works in their life, and how they experience and how God leads them and talk with them, and I always, when we go home, I was crying in the car because I couldn't receive from the Lord. I couldn't hear from Him, and that's the worst thing, because there was no help in the church. There was no someone who understands me. And even my husband didn't understand me at that time and couldn't help me. And there was no hearing from the Lord as well. And basically, I feel alone and abandoned in all this situation. But the church, how I already told you, was a very young church. It was a church plant, and the guy who was, I will say, his brother put his the brother was put in the place of pastoring the church, and he was pretty young as well. I think something 24 or 5 years old. And I don't say that people who are young can't be pastors, but unfortunately, those people don't have experience. They don't have a life experience, first of all. And secondly, if we look at the Bible, then there is a very good teaching when Jesus teach about that he was invited to the dinner to a Pharisee, and he even didn't wash his feet and didn't be kind to him. But the woman came and washed his feet with the tears and was drying it up with her hair. And Jesus was telling that this woman know how to be thankful and how to love, because she is a lot because Jesus forgive her a lot of her sins. And that's why life experience is very important. And experience and suffering, we go through, it's teaching us how to help others. But if we don't have this experience, we can give anyone what we don't have. And this guy, he was put in the position, and even the Bible teaches that you can become a pastor too young, too not experienced, because you can be puffed up, and you can start to think that you are someone, but you are nothing. And basically, this guy, he was put in this position. He was young, he was not experienced, and he was thinking that he is someone that everyone needs to respect him. But he didn't own this respect, because he wasn't doing the thing. He wasn't helping anyone. And the thing we known only after then was that he even wasn't preaching his own thing. He wasn't preaching on Sundays the sermons what he was writing, or no, someone else write down the sermons for him, And basically, he was the actor. He was acting out. He was doing the acting thing, and that's the most horrible thing. And if you see in the church something like that, you need to run from this church. I believe this is the worst place you can be, because you never will experience the help there. And then one more thing I can share, that again, I already told you that I have nothing against the people who have overweight, but it can show if they are in a high position in the church, or they are pastors, or they are leaders. It can show that they have some issues and problems in, I think, in spiritual problems, because this guy, he has very overweight, and he have a problems. He have a problems with pride. He have a problems with all kind of things. But the biggest, how I already told you, he didn't write down and preaching his own sermons. He didn't have experience. He didn't have compassion. He didn't have anything. He was like a marionette who was putting his brother just put him in the place, because there have to be someone, unfortunately. And that's why I didn't receive any help, and nobody. There was lots of young people, and that's why there was no help, And the church was overly nice people, but the nicest, when we go to the church, okay, nice people, it's good that we have nice people, but if there is no real power, if there is no real help, then that's just organization, And it's very hard with someone experience such a things, he can explain, because I couldn't explain what's happening with me. But the breaking point in all this was when the pastor came to me, call him like some pastor, but he wasn't in my eyes. I didn't even consider him pastor now. And he come to me one day when I was feeling very, very bad. It was very bad, depressed moment. How I say, if someone is depressed, if someone is in bad situation, you can see in his face, in his attitude, in his even vibes, in his, you can feel it, in the atmosphere. And he came to me and just tell me like things like that. Don't go around with this sad face or something like that, and it's deeply wounded me, because how you can say to someone who is already depressed and is feeling, not asking him what's wrong with you, and there wasn't a question why you are like that, what's wrong with you. No, just don't like don't be the one who is like, the atmosphere is, you need to be in a happy atmosphere, and you are uh, ruining all the atmosphere with your not smiling and with your sad face. And that's the worst thing I received from this guy. And I decided after this I don't want to go back to this church. And yeah, we was there for 2 years, almost 2 years. I think, yeah, 2 or 3 years, I don't remember quite. And after we left this church, the oldest pastor understand that something is wrong, and he call us back, and we have a meeting, and we tell everything what happened. But we decide, we have a fast as well, take 3-day fast to decide, or we need to go back, but we couldn't. And we couldn't go back because we understand that this is not the place where someone will support us and help us, and we didn't have this experience, we didn't have this support we are expect to have, unfortunately. And how I already told you, this is the majority of churches in Ireland, and not only in Ireland. But when you see such things in the church, you need to run from this church, and you definitely don't need to stay there, because there is no help whatsoever. But this is a good experience. This is a good experience for us. And I want to continue to tell more about what we experienced, that you can avoid those things and not be deceived or disappointed and hurt more than you are in the world. Because the world, when you come to the church and you come from the world, there is a lot of things you come with. But if there is no one who can help you, if there is no one who can support you, and if there is no one who can understand you, then it will be very difficult to get some healing and help. Basically, yeah, that's the thing we experienced in this church. Of course, there was a good things as well, and not only bad things, but the worst thing in that moment was that we need this help. I need this help. We need this teaching. We need this, but we didn't receive it, and we didn't receive it because it was there was no power, there was no understanding, there was no experience. And yeah, that's basically what was our experience in this church. And we left this church. Maybe if I would be now in the same situation, I would act differently. But in that moment, in that situation, I didn't know any better, because I feel offended, and I feel that after all those things we know about what the pastor was doing, that he was um, not preaching his sermons, that all those things happened there. We decided to go away and look for something else. And yeah, basically, I don't remember that was in this church or after the next one, when I was starting to get better a little bit, because um, I was how I tell you, I was in and out from depression for a very long time, and this was the battle for almost 3 years, till I have results and I have much better mental health, and depression slowly go away. It wasn't like happening like in one moment. No, it was slowly. It was a battle. Um, and I was battling alone with Jesus, and I was struggling, how I already told you, to hear from God, to have this help. That's why it's very important when you go to the church and you are very young Christian and you are struggling with something, that there is a people who are older than you, who are more experienced than you, not only older like older age, but who are mature Christians, because you can be old but you are not mature in the Christ. You are still struggling yourself, and you can help anyone, but you need someone who is your spiritual dad or mom to lead you, to help you. And that is very important thing when you go somewhere, when you're looking for help, to have people who have authority and who can help you, really lead you and pray for you and guide you and tell you this is normal, this is normal situation, this is normal state to be in, because Satan is attacking you, and you need to fight, and I will help you fight, because this is the same when you have children. You want to protect them, but they are children still, and the enemy can attack them. And that's why we need this spiritual background, these spiritual fathers and mothers. Of course, a lot of help was that I was deep in the personal relationships. I was spending a lot of time for many hours, like 4 hours. I was spending 4, 6 hours and with Lord. I was reading a lot of information. I was watching a lot of sermons, and thanks this church in Latvia I was following, and there was a lot of help and lots of information. But the battle was mine, and I was battling this battle, me and Satan, and didn't have any help outside of this. But thanks to God and His grace, it's make me only stronger, And this experience is very good for me now, that I know how to help someone else who is battling the same situation and who don't see any way out, because in that moment I think it will never end, it will never finish, these horrible things, what's happening in my mind, because seemingly I was fine physically, I have everything, but if you have a mental problems, it's a very, very bad mess. And yes, that's basically the thing I wanted to share with you this episode. And the next episode, I will share more about the new place we moved, the new church, new experiences. And if you have some questions, please don't hesitate to write me, and I will be gladly to answer you. And but for now, I want to thank you that you watch this message, that you share, and continue to do this, and see you in the next episode. Have a blessed day.